right, I am typing in the chat there. So, okay. And 7:28, this may be my best shot ever. So now let's get to sharing the correct screen. And that is going to be, oops, this one. Let's try that again. This one. Share. Ha ha! Success. And it's only 7:29. All right. So we're actually live, but people typically aren't going to sign in until 7:30. But just in case someone's here early, I am really excited. Tonight, this is Ann Matuszak. I'm here along with, as always, Molly Bartelt. But joining us tonight is Susan Lorenz. Susan has graciously allowed us to share her Forever account. And so we're going to do a little bit of organizing and suggesting ideas to help Susan manage what's already in there, which is, as you can see, almost 24,000 files. And knowing that this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, and that there's many years left to add and many years left to live. So if you want to follow along in your own Forever account, I'm going to move our pictures over for just a second here. And you're going to go ahead and sign in to your Forever account with your email address and then password. And we're going to actually start on the albums page. And I think Molly's going to keep an eye on the chat. If anyone has any questions, we'll try to answer them as we go along. Susan's going to throw in comments and ideas on what she has there or why she has it there, and we'll give her some suggestions on how to continue to manage this in a way that makes it fun and a really exciting legacy that she gets to pass forward to future generations. So Susan, thank you so much for being willing to share.
Of course. It's good to join you.
Glad to have you here. So we're starting in your albums page, and it looks like you started with some heritage photos that you uploaded and added first. And are the blank albums that you've created, are those ones that you know you have pictures for? I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, I know I do. I'm just, you know, I haven't gotten to those yet. And I think some of those are also in a genealogy section too in Forever.
Okay.
So I have a lot of weeding out to do and a lot of organizing yet to come. So any tips are welcome for sure.
So let's talk about the great thing that Susan has done in creating albums that she knows she has pictures to move into in the future. If she hasn't uploaded those pictures yet, she gets to do one of my favorite things, and that's upload directly to an album. To do that, she just clicks on the album that she wants to add her pictures to. She's going to click here. She's going to click on the upload button, and then she can go and find those pictures from her computer and add them, or she can open the folder from down at the bottom of my screen. You see the folder icon, and she can drag them and drop them directly into there. And the reason that's really nice is rather than having them uploaded in a giant mass into the library and then going to find them, they're going to go directly into the album where they live. However, that's not always what happens when you go to add pictures, right? So I'm just going to glance through, and it looks like you have a lot of albums that you're sharing with some friends and family. Do you have friends and family that you have added to your account?
Right at this point, I only have Athena.
Okay.
And daughter-in-law, but I know she's so busy that she hasn't done much with it. But she plans to. She tells me it's on her list of things to do. So
like all of us, and that's why we do these trainings every several Mondays a month, so that people can dedicate or set aside a half an hour a week. We'd love to say 15 minutes a day, and I try to accomplish that myself, but we just recognize that life is life. And if you don't have a dedicated time that's set aside, if we can get you in at least a half hour a week, we feel like we're getting some consistency there. So I've noticed you've also made a couple of albums public. And is that because you had a number of people to share those with, or was that not intentional?
Actually, I thought, should I have them all public, or should I not have them just friends and family? And I think I just thought, why not go public? Anybody can see them, that's fine with me. So I think
that's really neat. Especially, I'm looking at 1946 in this cover picture. Are these both relatives in this album?
Well, the one on the left, that's my mom, who Molly would know from all the work she did with the digital books we did for my mom. And the other lady is her sister-in-law, my aunt, Alice.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there may be extended family that could be looking, and now if they knew you had pictures from 1946, they'd be able to see that. So that's kind of neat. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
So we can see the intent with your albums. And one of the questions that you asked me before we got started is, what about this nesting albums thing? What good is it? What's the purpose for it? Well, here's where that may become valuable for you. So right now we have 3 from the 19s. We have 2 from the 1920s. We have 2 from the 1930s. None of that is a real large number. But then we start getting into the 1940s. And you can see that in the 1940s, now we're running 4, 5, 6 albums. And in the 50s, it's going to be more, and it's going to continue to expand, because the closer you get in history, the more photos we had, right? So what we have found that many people choose to do is, in these decades that have a lot of albums, nesting them makes it easier to look at. Otherwise, to get from 1917 to 2020 is going to be a lot of scrolling, right? In fact, you can see that already. And so just to make it a little bit more manageable from your viewpoint to do that, like I said, you might want to start with the 40s, but definitely the 50s. So how would we go about that? Very easy to do. Is this okay with you if I could create a decade album?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to create a new album, and the title of that album is going to be 1950s. However, we set
and I have a lot more 50s and 60s pictures that are
and
in
you
here.
know that it's going to keep growing. So whatever I set the head album as, that's what everything inside there is going to be. So most of your albums are friends and family. So I'm going to set it like that, but you could always change it to public if you wanted, or private for that matter. I'm kind of weird. I like to make sure that my albums are dated correctly. And so I tend to set my my date ranges for an album. So ideally, the 1950s are going to run from January 1st of 1950 to December 31st of 59. May not be exactly accurate. So we're going to create that album. Now we want to add things to that album, right? And so the easiest way I've found, and Molly, if you have a different opinion, I'm welcome your input, but I have found, for me, it seems easiest to go back and move the album in rather than go look for them and suck them in. Does that sound right? So I can click on, I'm going to click on this album right next to 1950s, and I'm going to move it. You see how I just clicked on the drop down arrow? Here's what I could do with that album. I'm going to move that album. Where am I going to move it? To the 1950s. And then I can continue to do that with the other ones that belong in the 1950s.
Great.
And
so much better.
I think that you'll find that it gets a lot easier to look at when you start combining some of these decades. And you can very easily see they make sense, you know, so you're creating kind of a tree structure. Yeah, there were quite a few of them. So we're going to move this one, and I'm only going to do one decade because, you know, you've got to have homework, right? So this is what you would go ahead and do. That is, if this makes sense to you and you like that,
this
you
is
can
awesome.
create
Yes.
decade albums.
And it's so cool because you can see in the little icons that there are 7 nested albums in there. There's no loose pictures, which you can always add a few if you want, especially if you want a cover photo. But seeing the 7 nested albums, it just feels like, oh, there's some deeper level of organization there. It looks cool.
You're not going to forget that they're in there because it shows on there.
Right, it shows right on top. And you may find some pictures that are 50s, but you don't know what year they are. And those you could drop right into the 50s, and then you would have that section as well. So that would be my first step in just kind of helping group your albums a little bit more manageably so that you don't have screen after screen of scrolling.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah.
And we're not done. It just had to finish loading. So one of the other questions that you asked was, what about dividing things by month? And that can also be a really good choice when we get into the photos of years that there are a lot of photos. So I'm not going to address this brothers one right now because that one kind of terrifies me. But
that's something I want to do for the guys, my sons. I want to make digital albums, brother albums. So that's why I've got that in there.
Got it. So like right here, we've got September of 2019. Now in September of 2019, we have nested May of 2019. It's kind of an interesting place to put that. So what if we go here to May of 2019, and let's go up to this top line here, and let's move it out of there. So where would we move that? Well, let's see if you have a 2019 album. Sure enough, here we go. So let's nest May right into 2019. Is that a little better place for it to live?
Much better.
And then we can do the same thing with 2019 right now. We have a straight up 2019, June, July, August. We have May. Now, you may have noticed a little organizational issue there, right? Because May should come before June, July, August. And the way that we get around that is by putting the number of the month in the front of it, right? So we would rename this. You could keep May there. I usually put the year first and then the month. So that would be my preferred way. I think it's really consistent. So you would put 2019 and then 03. Yeah, don't do that. 05 for May. And then if you like the words, add the word May right away. Okay, then all your months are going to fall in line.
Okay.
So we've got May.
I know there's more 2019 in the computer, more pictures in the computer that are not in forever.
And then June, July, August. You could do the same.
Just do 06.
Yeah. And just call it summer, because that kind of encompasses that section. So you see how that, if we change it to putting the year and then the month, now your months are all going to fall in order through here. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Now we're going to, so nesting in for our years within a decade, and then nesting our months within a year. And so that means that you can have albums that are nested twice, right? So 2019 would be nested in the 2010s, and then all the months in 2019 would be nested in there.
Okay.
So it starts to build again, kind of that tree structure where you can see the different layers of it going in. And
there was a September 2019. Do you want to fix that one for her right away?
Sure. Let's just go scrolling along.
As
here.
I said, there's a lot of work to do. I'm also wondering if a lot of pictures should be weeded out of forever because they're not all real important pictures. And I'm using a lot of storage space. So I'm just probably keeping too many in forever. I don't know what your thought on that is.
Well, don't ask Ann.
Okay, so I am not the one to ask. Molly, why shouldn't she ask me?
Oh, Ann's got over 100,000 photos.
I understand. She's
but you know what? I've had a epiphany, if that's an appropriate word. I used to delete because I didn't want to have too many pictures to go through, but I realized that I was missing pictures from the Lion King show at Disney World in 2003. Like I had probably taken 5 or 6, and I only had saved 2 of them. And now 15 years later, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I deleted those. So I would say buy more storage and then you'll never have regrets. You know,
okay.
Yeah, if you really,
I'm fine with that. I just didn't know how you thought about that. And that's how I am too, Ann and Molly. I'm just, you know.
Now, I do try to get back, and I'm trying to do that more consistently because it's really important, where I go in and you see you have this section right here where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think they're duplicates. They're duplicates.
And then 3 of these. So I think that you have 7 of the 2 of you. I would, you know,
let's see. So show her when you hover over the eye. We'll know if they're duplicates because the eye will give you that information. 2667, 2670, 2660.
They're so alike that.
Right. It looks like maybe somebody just held the shutter down and took several in a row. And so you go through and you look, and are the people behind important, and do you like the look? I mean, you look fantastic. Are you happy with Mom? You know, and then check the next one. And then one of the problems that I have is and they're almost identical. They really are.
Yeah.
So one of the problems is I'm scrolling through like this, trying to choose which one I like the best, is if there's one that you particularly like, go ahead and hit this favorite button right up here at the top in the info. That way, when you go back and look, is this better than my favorite? Not really. Not really. Okay. And then you can go ahead and delete and just stop when you get to your favorite. That keeps you from scrolling back. I do like a lot of this all the time. So if that helps you choose one a little bit more easily, that's a great way. That's adorable. Oh my goodness.
Here's Athena.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my mom's last birthday. 102. Or wait, was it? Or is it 103? No,
Either one, she looks quite amazing.
She sure does.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then
That
what's
is
cool,
really nice.
when Ann closes it, you'll see that one of those is favorited, right in your screen there.
Right here, you can
Okay.
see the little heart.
Okay, great.
And so you'll
Yeah,
know
that's
right
going to be
away.
really helpful.
And so, yes, you can go ahead and edit by removing really similar. But if you have one, like with Athena and the boys, if you have one where they're all smiling very properly and the next one where they look really, really goofy, and you want to keep them both, keep them both. You know, no one's going to, least of all me, no one will judge you at what you have in your account. But
Will not judge me.
So this looks like this is all one event. You have 80 photos from this one event. Well, no, you have 2 videos here as well. But, you know, go through and, you know, remove maybe a couple of these really almost identical ones. But there's not a there's not a maximum number. There's no rule. Because you've got some great group shots that really capture everyone that attended. Do you need the picture of the cake? Did someone make it for her, or are we okay with the cake with it in front of her? I mean, there's decisions you can make.
Right.
And while the while this is fabulous to have the whole group, it doesn't mean I would get rid of the individual groupings. Like, this is just precious.
Right.
You know? So whatever, you know, whatever makes you happy. I mean, that's what I cut. Here's a blurry one, Susan. We can kill this one.
Okay.
I am gonna take the drastic step of deleting one of your pictures. The good news is it goes into your delete bin
was
for
that
the next
only one of
60
that one?
days.
Was that the only one?
That's blurry?
Oh, his eyes are closed there.
Yeah, we had a better one than that, didn't we?
I don't know. Ann's got the delete button.
All right, I'm stopping. Okay. But you know, you can start to see there's going to be some of them that will be easy to delete, and some of them that, so here we go. Like right here, here's just the 2 of them. That's nice, and he looks great. He looks good here, but she's not smiling as much.
Yes, right.
You know, so
Yeah,
it's some of those you kind of figure out. This one looks like it was a screenshot or some, I don't know. But you can see
maybe.
It's very pixelated. So that might be one that you could let go of.
Sure. There's nothing too great about that one. So,
and again, forever protects you from yourself, and all of those go into the delete bin for the next 60 days. Should you get a little bit delete happy and select too many at once.
Okay.
Want to show her where the delete bin is, just in case?
So in the upper right corner, you have these 3 lines. When we click on those 3 lines, we get all of our heads right in the middle of it. You have all of these different categories that we've gone through before, which have been simplified a little bit. And the delete bin is a nice bold gray. So we can click in there, and here are the 4 things that are in your delete bin. And it tells you when they went in, and then you have 60 days until that's passed.
See, I didn't know that, so that's great.
Well, there we go. And at any point, if you are overwhelmed by it, you can actually empty it and delete them permanently. So that's pretty easy. Now we're going to go to the next scary place, and that's going to be the library. Oh, there's one other thing I want to say in your albums. Let's go back to albums for a minute. One of the things that I also like to do as soon as I have uploaded, and this is going to apply especially to your digital pictures. So when we get down here into the newer pictures, one of the things I like to do is you're going to notice right here is order by. So what order are you seeing them? Well, it's ordering right now by what you uploaded. And that is not necessarily chronological at all. And so I prefer to put them in chronological order. So date taken, oldest first. And so now when I go here, it says this one is January 1st. And then this one here is January 3rd, and so on and so forth, so that they're actually, here's January 4th, so it's chronological. Whereas when we uploaded, usually it's the very end of that section that appears first. So it's
That was
just
one of my
easier to look
questions,
at
Yeah.
when they're in order. And I would love to change this and default it to oldest first, but I don't know if that's a possibility yet. So
that's a good point, Ann. Susan, if you've been wondering about that all this time, we'd have to feel fairly bad because that'd be very frustrating.
So
it's fine.
Now, one of the things that's a problem, this is great for those digital pictures, right? But the pictures that we uploaded for you, let me go to 1999, I think was one of the years that I uploaded, right? Yep, here we go.
Yep, 99, 2000, 2001.
So when you're uploading photos that have been scanned, some people scan them in a particular order.
Yes.
Some people don't. So
I didn't, so it's kind of a mess.
if you scan them in a particular order, you would want them to still appear in that order when you get it into your account. And to do that, you sort it by name, A to Z. What does that mean? When I hover over this I, this is going to be 1999-0001. And this will be 002. And so these are exactly the order that you scanned them in. So here we're sorting A to Z rather than date taken because they were all uploaded on the same day. What we can do is we can select all of these pictures. There's 313. There were 363, but we found 50 duplicates that we removed. So see, I saved you a whole bunch of space in your account. I'm going to hit the shift key and select all of those images at once. Now we can go up here and edit the information. I'm up in the blue bar right up here. Okay, kind of circling around there. I'm going to hit edit info. I don't want to name them all because they were from all over during the year, correct? But what I can do is put the year on it. So they'll now fall, if you were to look at just your pictures chronologically, at least they're all 1999. Now they're all going to say January because I can't X out those two things, but we have them in the correct year. So when you have photos uploaded that have been scanned, I would encourage you to go in and change the year to the correct year. And in fact, if we've scanned them, and some of them we scanned front and back, you may have the exact date and you can change those as well. So that kind of contributes to getting that all organized. So our tips so far: move your albums into decades by just creating a master decade and then clicking on the little blue arrow in the corner of the next album and hitting move and moving it to the right decade. Within your decades or within your years, you can also nest months. And if we're going to nest months, we want to name them with the numbers first so that they stay in chronological order. Okay. All right, so those are 2. And then 3, we're going to go ahead and any photo that's been scanned, we're going to go ahead and edit the information to add the year that the photo is actually from so that they don't all look like your whole life occurred in 2020, because that would be very sad for all of us. Okay, so we're gonna bonus this. We're gonna go one more place yet, and we're gonna do tip number 4. And we're going to go in your library. Whenever I created an account for someone, I go into, before I go to library, up here, there's those 3 lines again next to your profile picture. I go here and I go to your account settings. and I go to your preferences, so left-hand side, after email and password, I go to preferences, and I choose a landing page of either your profile or albums. And I do that because I hate opening accounts in the library because I find it very overwhelming. And I think that our goal with Forever is to make things more manageable, and libraries just seem overwhelming to me. So that's just a personal thing. So now we are going to go, here's your profile page. And right now you're at 74% of your storage. You have 29 gigabytes left. Before the end of the year, there will be at least one more half price sale. I listened to the call today, Molly. So if adding storage is on your list of things to do, we'll keep you posted on when those, they're going to do 15 days of 24-hour sales, which is going to make my head explode. But
oh my goodness.
But if we know someone's looking for storage and we can get you a half price deal, and then you're a club member, right?
Yes.
Yes, you get another 5% off. That's in my happy place. So we're going to the library. All right, why are we in the library? Because we want to make sure that everything that's in your library has a home. And sometimes in your library, you may have pictures that you want to keep private. And so I don't necessarily do this as a blanket because I've done that in my own account and then realized I put credit cards into a friends and family album, and that was a bad idea. Not that my family's taking advantage of it, but nonetheless, a bad idea. So if you know that you don't have anything dangerous or incriminating in there, we're going to go and look at whether or not all of your photos have a home. How do we do that? We go up here to this drop down arrow where it says all files. And what I want to see is, what do you have in here that is not in an album? So right now we're seeing all 23,951. What is not in an album? This is not looking terrible. This is really quite good, Susan. So what we tend to do now with these
or there's
sections,
more in there than you think. You kind of have to let it load, eh?
All right, well, maybe a little bit more. All right, there's a little bit in here. But this is where sometimes you go to look at your albums and you're looking at your album of 2015 and you're going, all right, where is this birthday party? And it turns out it was never added to an album yet. And so this is where we're going to go, and I'm not actually going to start there because it gets a little bit challenging. So we're going to go and see, do we have monthly albums for 2020? I don't know, but we know that we need one for November, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess you have more than 4 pictures from November of this year.
Oh, sure.
Yep. So let's select these 4. We're going to add them to an album.
I'm a little confused, Dan, because like it says here, September 16th, 2020. These are old pictures?
These are pictures that got added into your library, but did not get put into an album.
Okay.
So they might have come from your phone. You might have uploaded from a camera card. You might have brought them in from a folder in your computer. These look like they're all digital. And the way I can tell that is when I look at it, theoretically,
some are old, some are not digital, some are, okay. Some aren't.
But... So you're saying that these 4 pictures are not from November?
So
yeah, clearly, okay, let's go this way. This black and white picture says that it was taken on September 20th or 17th of 2020. That seems unlikely.
No, that's from the 50s.
Okay, so some of these are pictures that were scanned or that you took a picture of a picture with your camera or your phone.
I don't think I did that. I don't know. Yeah, that's
so
from
I'm going to move our pictures out of the way here.
1958 or something like that.
Yeah, so here's our information. This is a very tiny picture. Right here in file size, we see 46 kilobytes. To put that in perspective, a 4x6 picture is usually about 3 or 4 or up to 8 megabytes. So this is tiny. You may have downloaded it from Facebook or from another social media site because this would not print well as an image.
Mm-hmm.
So you could even put a description on this that says, look for original, because right now this picture, while it's a blessing to have, is not large enough to do much of anything with it. Okay. You could probably put it as a small image in a digital book, but it's not meant to be very large. Yeah, I can't really even zoom into it very much. All right, so you're breaking my whole plan here for you. The idea is I'll go to September 16th instead because that looks, well, no, that does not all look like it's the same event because there are people in Christmas hats.
Yeah, this is a real jumble of pictures from
it is a
multiple
jumble.
years. I'm not quite sure.
All right, so
sometimes I find I have a group like that that's jumbled up, and I'll actually make a folder that says to sort, and I will move them all into the to sort, and then I remember that I need to get back to it because now,
otherwise they're kind of lost in the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I've seen that in our Pixology account that you've put some in the like to sort folder.
I haven't got back to sort them yet, but I know I need to.
Well, we both see them there, so that's a really good thing. I went a little crazy fast forwarding here. So that might be your better choice, is to put them in a to sort folder. But the idea is that all pictures should find a home.
Okay.
Some of these, now I wonder if some of these might have been, so this section here, this is April of 2019. These look like maybe
pictures
70s.
These were taken in 1971.
There we go. Okay, so the name is already on there, 1971. So this whole section, again, click on the first, hold down your shift key, click on the last. Could be moved to an album. The first thing I think I would want to do though is edit the info and change the date taken to 1971.
Okay.
So that they don't show up in April of 2019 again.
Yep.
Then, now I moved them. That was really not the direction I was planning on going.
But you can filter it by 1971. I bet you were thinking of that already.
So now that I did that, Molly's right. Underneath, all right, let's go back here. So we're looking at not in any album, and now we can start filtering by year or even by month. In this case, we just need 1971. And here's that stack of pictures. So we're going to select them all. We're going to add them to an album. We're going to look and see if there's a 1971 album. And there is. There we go. And now there's no more 1971 pictures in here. So we're going to go back to no filter, and it'll show us what's left in this section. So this can be a little bit tedious, but it's really a good thing. Otherwise, pictures just stay in your library and are never found. They just kind of hang out there. So like this group of little shots looks like it probably was all the same day. It looks like it may have been May of 2020. Do you think so too?
Yes, yes.
So then this would move. We're going to add it to an album. Scroll down to 2020. And 2020, you may want to create nested albums as well. So we could just add it to 2020 and then move it again, or we could create a new album named 2020-05 May. Put your year in if you want. Add to the new album. Oops. Friends and family. Add to that new album. And then you would be nesting that May album into your 2020 album. So do you think you have enough to work on?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It'll be an after Christmas project.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm going to suggest that you consider tuning in with us on Monday nights at 7:30 and either listening to what we're doing that night or making that your half hour a week that you're going to do the stuff while you still remember it. Otherwise, you're going to have to watch your own home library section again on YouTube just to remember what we worked on tonight. So do you have any questions other than can we do this for you?
No, I think you covered everything for me, Ann, that I was, a little concerned about and had questions about. I think you covered everything nicely.
Okay. And then obviously this video goes into our YouTube Forever Training. What is that called? Playlist. Thank you. Yeah, I think it might be time to go home. Yeah. It'll go into the playlist under there and you'll be able to find this video again if you want to watch it again, and other videos as well. And of course, you can always give us a call.
Thank you so much. This was an awesome tutorial. Really great.
Well, it's fun to work on it with your own pictures, isn't it? It just makes it feel like you're making progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was great. I really appreciate it. So
awesome.
Any questions, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing it, because we had some people tuning in to watch it tonight, and I think when we look at each other's accounts and help each other, it's better than Ann and I just showing our account, which
is
for us.
It makes it more real. Mm-hmm. When other people can see, oh, she's got that same issue that I do. That's great. So again, Forever Training with Pixology is on Monday nights at 7:30. If you're willing to share your album and your Forever account with us, we would love to help you solve the problems you're having getting organized. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Pixology, your photo experts. And we look forward to seeing you again next Monday night, maybe with another guest. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.